Union Budget 2024 is all set to be released next month. And with budget comes a lot of terms that are unknown to the general public. So in today's Learn the Budget with ET episode, I'm going to tell you what is a budget gap and how the government fills that gap. I'm Neha Vashisht Mahajan. Let's start the video. What is a budget gap? A budget gap is another term for a fiscal deficit. It is basically the difference between income and expenditure. A fiscal deficit occurs when the government spends more than it earns. Now, there is another term that is the exact opposite of this, and it is called fiscal surplus. It is seldom talked about because this phenomenon occurs mostly in highly developed countries. Now, why is fiscal deficit important? Fiscal deficit signifies the money the government must borrow to fund its expenditure, which can't be funded with its total income. Government borrowings have deep implications. They increase the government debt and add to the interest the government has to pay every year on its debt. That's why large fiscal deficits become unsustainable. Government borrowings also influence interest rates and bond yields. Excessive market borrowing by the government is not good for private players. High fiscal deficits bring down sovereign credit ratings and eventually lead to an existential crisis for the economy. So, how much of this gap is acceptable? Fiscal deficit is not a negative term. It is fine till a limit as the government can fill the gap. When a slowed down economy needs more money to spend, the fiscal deficit can be ignored. In India, a specific target was set for it. It was supposed to be brought down to 2.5% of the GDP from FY 2017 to 18 to 2022-23. However, the government has been struggling to meet the target. When it was on the fiscal glide path, that means on track to meet the target, the pandemic hit and this gap widened. It is set at 5.9% for the current year, and the budget is expected to lower it for the next year. Though tax collections have grown, the government may need to trim its subsidy bill or cut capex to bring the fiscal deficit down. Well, that is all for today. Stay tuned to ET Markets for more.